All right, guys, we're going to be moving on here. We're moving into our second session. And what we're going to talk about is increasing digital marketing, ROI, really, again, high level, what we're looking for, things that we can be doing. Another guest here, and Mike, I think you're on mute, but would love for you to just give us a couple minutes background, who you are, what you've been doing, so those that don't know you, and then we're going to dive in and get going.
What's up, Mike Rennick in the house? What's up, brother?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Little challenge with the links. I've got two laptops here, so I've got the camera on one, the voice on another, so bear with me. I'm probably a Johnny-come-lately to real estate. I worked for General Motors for 31 years. I started at 21. I retired at 52, and I've been selling real estate virtually since then. I'm almost at year 2 at Ylopo, and Ylopo has definitely been a game changer in terms of the tools, the processes, the help. It's just been a great ride, and we're still at the beginning as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome, awesome. So, I mean, really, we want to talk high level. We're talking team leads, the admin, the ones that are really making the decisions on what are we doing, where are we spending money, how are we structuring everything to really start getting that the highest ROI. So, we kind of love to just kind of hear what you've been doing, maybe some changes going into 22 that you might be making as far as structure and stuff like that.
So what I have to share, none of this is going to be original. I've stolen it from Barry, from you, Gabe. So it comes down to 3 things. To be successful at Ylopo, very simply, you need to address the new leads when they come in. Number 1. Number 2, you need to address the why priorities that occur. The intelligence we get with people running across our website is amazing. And number 3, you need to engage as Raya at the appropriate time. Now, how you do that depends on what size. There's really 2 of us in the main part of Team Rennick, 4 total agents, but the other 2 agents are off kind of on a sub team. So there's Eric and I, and we bring in between 400 and 600 leads per month. So how do we do that? And that's where you leverage with addressing the leads, Conversion Monster. How do we manage the leads? It's through Follow-Up Boss, okay, in the Ylopo environment. The thing that we're in, then call action, amazing opportunity with call action. And then right now we're integrating an ISA from Power ISA. We're stumbling a little bit, not because of Power ISA, but because of me figuring out how to do the right integration. Our ISA is one of the most cooperative people I've ever met, and I'll figure this out someday and we'll go forward. But it's those 3 basic things. So I get calls all the time from Ylopo agents. You reach out and you automate and you leverage with Conversion Monster, call action, people like that when you need to, when you no longer can control those kind of things. And you guys have heard that here many times. I didn't invent this philosophy at all.
So I want to break that down. So the first one you said, you had 3 things. The number 1 was new leads. So I'd love to go a little deeper there when you're saying, get on the new leads. What are you guys doing? What have you seen working? What are you changing to improve that? And I know Barry, love to also hear this is an area where you have a lot of automation stuff too. So when you're saying new leads, you got to focus on it. What does that mean for somebody who's newer getting in here, is not seeing success with these new opportunities?
So in my mind, just my opinion, I like to bring it back to a physical location. So if I'm sitting in my office and a new lead walked into a lobby, my lobby, would I yell out from my office, hey, how you doing? What can I do to help you? Or would I get up and would I go greet that lead? Of course, I would do the latter. To me, for an internet lead, an online lead, that's where a phone call is important. Yeah, we have drip campaigns, we have text messages, but it's the phone call. And that's where Conversion Monster comes in. It's greeting that person on a personal basis, understanding what they're looking for, and then immediately connecting them with either Eric or myself. So that's how we greet leads.
Got it. I love that. So is it only Conversion Monster? You said there's 2 of you primarily on the team. So when it comes to the new leads, is it strictly Conversion Monster? Are you guys piggybacking on that?
So it's Conversion Monster, and then when they make the connection, they do the warm transfer through Follow-Up Boss. We have the group phone number. Eric's phone and my phone rings. Whoever can take it takes it. By chance, if there's an off chance no one's available, then an appointment is set up. So every new lead comes in my mind, I call them Conversion Monster leads until that meeting. Through the warm transfer or the meeting is set up, Then they become Mike's leads because Conversion Monster disengages at that point. And it's up to myself, Eric, and our team, call action, ISA, things like that, to nurture that lead until they're ready to make a purchase. We're in a little bit different market. We're a second home market. So many times people coming down looking at properties haven't decided that it's a west coast of Florida where they're going to purchase. So a little bit different dynamics, but I think the process is the same. You know, I get calls, agents say, well, I'm just a little 1 or 2 person team. How do I do this? That's the secret sauce. Those 3 things, and you reach out and you ask for help when you need it on those 3. Boy, Barry, I bet you've heard that before because you've preached that at so many webinars. And that's what it's all about. And so when you go to reach out, who do you reach out to? Well, gee, you just ask for help. Everyone I've met here, you know, through Conversion Monster, through call action, through Power ISA, through AM cards. I'm famous for giving away brownies. All I have met because of my involvement here at Ylopo.
And just a quick plug, those brownies are really good from AM cards.
Well, and I know G's going to have to kick this off in a minute, but I think one of the things I like, Mike, you know, your role in your previous career, you think in a systems way. And what you've done is you're leveraging Ylopo and all the activity, and then you're using people and processes and software to surface who your 2-man team should focus on. And go ahead.
Right, it's all about relationships. Boy, that's absolutely a home run right there with what you just shared. Of the 83,000 people in my database, not everyone wants a relationship right now. So all of the technology, all of the tools, all the process, there's only one job they do, and that's to find out who's ready to talk to Mike and Eric. When are you coming down? What properties do you want to see? Are you qualified? Those kind of things, relationships.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, so there's 2 of you working, and that's a massive size database. And you said it's just the 2 of you?
Yeah, basically there's 2. There's 2 others kind of doing their own thing right now. We're going to integrate them into Team Rennick shortly.
So what's really cool, and I think what I'm understanding is you're allowing your tech stack, right? Your CRM, Ylopo, the remarketing, priority alerts, Conversion Monster, call action is doing a ton of this nurturing, surfacing opportunity and gold, and then you guys are focused on a very small but very active set of clients and opportunities versus basically boiling the entire ocean.
Right. The first big cut is when do they become a Mike's lead? And that's when Conversion Monster turns them over to us. And then we take it from there. And then if a Mike's lead kind of gets cold again, I can use a CM Revive tag and I can send it back. I mean, the partnerships here that Ylopo's introduced me to, Conversion Monster, call action, Power ISA, AM cards, Follow Up Boss, you folks, it's second to none out there. These things integrate well. It's about learning how to use them, but remembering one thing. It's nothing more than finding out who's ready for that relationship right now.
You said something really key there, and I want to point out, because I've been in a lot of these calls, is it's not just getting Ylopo, it's not just getting your CRM, but you said, and learning how to use them. So it sounds like you guys have put together a process that you can follow now that all of this is feeding together that you can take action on. And I think that's a missing piece a lot of times.
And see, that's key. So how do we do that? So I've taken Barry's masterclass for Follow Up Boss probably 4 or 5 times. I've stolen your smart list, Gabe. You put them up there with Follow Up Boss and they created a web page. So I've integrated all of those. And there's some unique things, like when a lead comes in and it's a multi-million-dollar lead and Conversion Monster hasn't set it up for me yet, I still engage. I use automations and Follow Up Boss, and they become a Mike's lead a little bit quicker. So it's about, you know, I work 12, 14 hours a day because I generally like what I do, but we can only do so much during that time, right? So we use these tools to make sure we're focused on the right kind of folks.
Yeah, I love that. And we're talking about leads in general, and I know obviously there's several different lead sources where people are coming. I like to talk about it. These people are in different parts of their journey where they're coming from, whether it's LSA or PPC, a portal, whatever that is. Are you guys treating them differently at all? How do you look at them when they're coming in, or is it all going through the same type of funnel?
For the most part, it's going through the same type of funnel. 50% of our business, and our goal is to have $1 million GCI every year. 50% of our business comes from past clients, and we do nurture them a little bit different. Before COVID, we had big events 2 or 3 times a year. Remember, most of our clients are only here during the winter months because we're in Florida, so we're limited to how many events we can have. So we do those kind of separate, but whether it's an LSA, I meet someone walking around St. Armand Circle who's seen the videos that we produced and gives me their contact information, or it's PPC. They go through the same process.
Love it. I love that. So I know, G, you got some slides and everything together you want to show kind of about marketing, how these people are coming in. Do you want to start sharing some of that? And we kind of talk about where these opportunities are coming from, how they're coming in, so that we can kind of go deeper, and then how to manage those and handle them. You might be muted.
Sorry.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got some slides I wanted to take you guys through. And Mike, thanks again for your insights. I'm going to call on you for some questions later on when I get to
don't
those
go anywhere.
slides. Don't go anywhere. So, you know, on the marketing side, and some of these slides you guys will have already seen if you attended the Coffee of the Co-Founders about 2 weeks ago. I want to kind of level set, because a lot of clients come to us and say, what should I advertise on, right? And the thing about digital marketing is there are so many different ways for you to market. And, you know, there are kind of tried and true, and we're helping you do all of those things, right? But I want to talk about how you go about stacking that marketing and what you should be doing right now. And then kind of explore some of the ways that we're marketing for you today. That way you have a clear sense of what your advertisements look like. And then I'm going to go into stars and mission control and show you guys the options that you have, both for understanding where your marketing dollars are going and what the levers you should be using are, right? And I'm going to kind of obviously consult with our great realtor in residences and Mike to you know, highlight some of those points. So when it comes to digital marketing, there are 4 areas that Ylopo is really focused on, right? Who do we target to get leads coming into your system? What are we showing these leads when they come into the system? What's the creative? What is the user experience that the consumer lands on and ultimately becomes a lead? And then how do we actually get them to register in the conversion funnel, right? Those are the 4 building blocks of digital marketing. So when it comes to targeting, you know, here's the first thing I'd say. Google Local Services ads have been out for a year. We have heard that from Google Local Services ads, when you actually get a legitimate phone call, you are getting an insane appointment rate and you're getting an insane conversion rate, right? Makes sense. Consumer sees an ad of yours, they see a photo, they already trust you or else they wouldn't call you, and then they call your phone number, right? That's going to be a really high quality lead. So for anyone who is on this call and they ask me, should my marketing dollars be going, right? The first thing I always say is set up Google LSA, right? Because if you can get a phone call from Google LSA, that lead is probably, and Scott on the previous call was telling Howard, 10x return on investment. That's better than Zillow, better than Trulia, better than any source you can get other than probably Seer, right? So get on Google LSA first and foremost. Now, the problem with Google LSA is that on average, our clients are getting 6 phone calls a month, right? Which is not a lot of phone calls. And by the way, 3 of those phone calls are rentals. And so you don't pay for those, but that cuts your numbers in half. And so even if you're converting at 25%, which is a monster number, you're getting 1 deal every 2 months, right? So it's not going to be something that you can scale and build your business on, but boy, is the ROI there, right? So if you are not doing LSA either through Ylopo or on your own, I don't know why you wouldn't do it through Ylopo right now because it's free during the beta period. We do so much work for you. But if you're not doing this, you got to jump on it today, right? You are missing out on an opportunity that your competition is doing. Go and search for top Miami realtor or top realtor in your area. See how many agents are on there. And I bet it's all the agents that are leaders in your market that you admire. They're all doing it. If you're not doing it, that means you're missing out, right? And there are practices for building it up and all this kind of stuff. And we're going to do a specific webinar just in that December, January time period to walk through how you optimize LSA and beyond, right? And into new categories of phone ads, which I'll talk about in a second that we're exploring right now. But first, money in Google LSA, right? You're going to spend like $100 a month. It's not big dollars, right? I wish clients come to us and say, I wish I could spend $10,000 on LSA. Too bad. There's just not that many people, right? But if you're not doing it, then something is better than nothing, right? The second step.
G, real quick, too, I want to make sure we're touching point on this. I mean, this whole session that we're doing is talking about increasing ROI, digital marketing, G hit the nail on the head. You're not going to be able to spend much money on this, and if you are able to spend money, that's because you are getting inbound phone calls that are legitimately looking to buy and sell. So from a mindset, especially going into 2022, looking at your budget, where you're doing, to me, this is something you look at as a supplemental lead source that you can feed as much as possible. I would not be pulling from something else because, again, you're not going to spend a lot, but this would be one that if you could spend more, you would just feed it and feed it. So I would really separate this outside of your traditional lead gen, what you're looking at, and just feed this beast if you're able to get it in.
And this is why people either love or hate LSA. They love it if they're getting the calls. They hate it because they hear other people are getting calls and they're like, why aren't I? And there's a lot involved with Google, and there's only 3 spots at the top, which is why what G is going to be going over is groundbreaking for you. So definitely tune into the next couple of slides.
Scott Tremblay was the one who told me yesterday that he's 10x'd his return, because remember, he measures everything, that he's 10x his return on Google LSA.
Awesome. Okay. So building blocks, you've got Google LSA. Next thing, what do I recommend you invest in, right? And people are surprised by this, but I say Facebook ads, right? Here's why. So first off, I'm going to show you data later on that proves that for especially the new process that we have for registering leads, which we call seller mode, that the ROI from Facebook is actually better than Google. But the reason I recommend Facebook is because it's a database builder, right? All of you guys know power is in the database. Over time, you're going to convert more and more leads. And we tell you over and over again, you've got to take the time and spend the money over years to build that database up, right? Well, guess what? Facebook leads are a fraction of the cost of Google leads. And if you look at the percentage of the people who say that they're interested in buying or selling, around 50% of those people are saying they're looking in under 6 months, right? So it's not the case that there are not near-term opportunities with Facebook. It just requires a little more digging, and the percentages are a bit lower than from pay-per-click, which I'll talk about in a second, right? But you're going to see in the data why Facebook is actually, in some cases, a better ROI. The second thing is, for a lot of clients who have migrated data from their media spend from Facebook to Google, we have made a ton of changes to Facebook that has increased its lead quality, right? So as an example, we are analyzing the data of every single hot lead across all of our clients in our database. And we have found commonalities between these leads that we upload into Facebook to create a custom audience, right? A custom audience is basically, or rather a lookalike audience, which is basically Facebook algorithm is saying, oh, you have the hottest leads in your system. We're going to go and find people who are similar to those leads that you can target, right? We call those likely to move buyers, right? And so there's a bunch of things we're doing on the targeting side, on the lead conversion side, et cetera, that we believe have increased the quality of Facebook leads, in addition to that they're half the cost, right? And so if you're a starter client, especially, you're a level 1 client, your budget is limited, this is a great way to build up your database, get some near-term opportunities, and feed your team, right? You have more reps when you have more leads. So you can spend $300 as an example on social and $600 on PPC, so half the amount you're spending on PPC, and get the same volume of leads, right? So there's a lot of advantages to layering in Facebook as a secondary source. The third thing is Google PPC, and I apologize, I don't know why I don't have the ad. Yep. Okay, here we go. Just as an example, right? Google Ads is the third layer that I would put into this equation, right? So one of our clients who is, like Scott, tracks everything, sent us some near-term data, right? And he showed that Google leads that he has in his database, net new leads, converts in about 3 months. That is really, really good, right? That's basically what you get from Zillow RDC, I assume. Maybe they close a little bit longer or shorter time frame, but 90-day close is pretty darn strong. Whereas Facebook leads, they close in about 200 days, right? So there you go. The difference between those two lead sources, still valuable. You're still getting closings. It just takes a little longer, right? So when you layer on Google, you get the immediacy, but guess what? The leads cost double, right? So you get less reps. Now, we're doing a ton of things from an optimization perspective to make your Google leads even better. But of course, at some point, they cost what they cost, which is usually double the cost of pay-per-click leads, right? So, we are at this point doing a lot of different things to continue to increase your lead quality, right? And these are experiments that we're running primarily for an alpha group right now, and we'll expand out over time, that we're really excited about. One of the core insights that Barry, Gabe, and I had, in the last couple of months is with the power of LSA, we've realized, hey, wait a minute, people really want inbound phone calls. Kind of a duh thing, but not anything that we've practiced as an organization or thought about from a digital marketing perspective. Once we've had that insight and advances have happened on Google and Facebook, we have now invested, and we're investing a ton of tech from our own call center, inbound call center, to call tracking technology and so on and so forth, digital marketing technology that allows us to target people on both Google and Facebook, and where the call to action, instead of clicking on an ad and filling out a form, is actually to place an inbound phone call to you, right? And so, expect this beta to come out in, the next quarter or two, because we're really, really excited about it, and the results so far has been phenomenal.
Well, and, I think one of the things I'm realizing as we're testing this product, for years, radio and billboard have brought the phone call in. But when you're in a digital ecosystem like Facebook or on the web, there's a lot of convenience that, like, they don't have to talk to a human. When you're driving down the billboard only has so much information. So to get more, you're going to call. Radio, same thing. But in this environment, they have access to the internet. They could technically research on their own, but they're deciding for the convenience of a human-to-human contact. And that's why we've been converting. I feel like every day we're converting a couple. And so that's why, to me, this is a really promising, new weapon in our arsenal for Ylopo users.
Yeah, and what's great about this is scale, right? Like, these are ads that I can put in front of consumers that they can register with based on how much media I'm spending, right? Like, for Barry, we've been averaging 12 to 15 phone calls per day, right? So that is like literally 100 times more calls than Google LSA, right? Probably not as high quality. You're paying for renters. There are differences and reasons why it's not as good as LSA, but guess what? You get 100x more of those phone calls.
Well, and with Google LSA, I set my budget to $10,000 a week, and it didn't help any. It didn't change anything.
We tried. And I wanted to kind of address this. One of the questions that came in, just perspective, and I think everybody has an opinion I'd love to hear. So Valerie says she's new to Ylopo and lead gen, I believe. Just curious, you heard that Facebook leads weren't as good as PPC, but is that true, or what are thoughts here?
Yeah. So again, I wouldn't say that they're not as good. I would say that lead generation is in general a numbers game, right? The data tells us that about 65% of Google leads say that they are looking to buy in under 6 months. Makes sense, because they're going on Google, they're typing in homes for sale, they're looking for properties, right? With Facebook, that number is about 45%. So it's 20% lower on the kind of frequency side, right? And on the conversion data side, I just told you the average Facebook lead from one of our banner clients that's tracking this is 200 days, and the conversion time frame for Google is 100 days, right? So by those metrics, you would say, oh, okay, Google leads are higher quality than Facebook leads. The difference is that a Google lead is 2x in expense versus a Facebook lead, right? So you're paying more to get that lead, but that Facebook lead has a longer conversion window, but also has a much lower cost, right? At the same time, you can't just evaluate these Facebook leads. Google LSA.
Sorry. LSA coming in right now. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. That's also actually all the click to call stuff. We're blowing Gabe up.
Yeah.
You got to answer that, Gabe.
It got answered. I promise. It got answered. So I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit. So, and Barry and I've chatted a lot about this on trainings. Very much have always been PPC. Haven't done a lot of Facebook. Again, they're just a little bit longer incubation. But as we're now opening up into our second market in Denver, and Denver's very competitive, and PPC's more expensive than a lot of markets. We have turned back on Facebook this last couple months to supplement. Now that we're getting more systems in place to nurture these longer, because again, trying to catch them higher in the stream to not have to fight for them when they're lower, they're less expensive, and nurture them. But the changes that you guys have been making and advancements, we've been blown away. In fact, we were reviewing the numbers last night on the return of the A's and B's, how we classify them just in this last 45 to 60 days is crazy. So we've been really blown away. And this is, I've shared this with Barry over and over. I pretty much throw everything into PPC, but now that we're having to build that funnel and that pipeline and not unlimited funds to throw at it, it's been a great way to get it in there. And with the advancements, we're having more conversations, and they're actually a lot more similar than what I had expected.
Yeah, and I wish I had the money shot slide from Howard on database building, but suffice to say, I mean, when you get a database of 3, 5, 10,000 leads, you're going to make money from that, right? And it might not happen in year 1, it might happen in year 5, but it's incredibly valuable. And it's going to take you twice as much time to build your database with Google leads than with Facebook leads. And it's going to take you like 5, 10 times if you're using portal leads, right? So you got to take that in consideration as well. Awesome. In the interest of time, let me kind of keep going here. So everything you just saw here is how we target leads, right? We also do something called Ppc Seller Leads, where we generate seller leads, buyer leads from sellers, but I'm not going to go into that too much, in the interest of time, other than, for you to know that we do generate pure seller leads, on our, seller PPC leads as well on our platform. Anyone who's level 1 and above can do that as well. Reason I'm not emphasizing that as much is because we're seeing, and we're going to see, seller leads being produced from your buyer advertising through seller mode. So I think there's going to be access to seller leads just from the marketing that we're doing. So certainly if you're interested in pure sellers, we can do that for you. If you're interested in sell-buy opportunities, teasing out sellers within your buying opportunities, we're going to be doing that as well, right? So putting that out there. On the creative side, we're doing a ton of stuff to make sure your ads look beautiful. Here's an example of an advertisement that you see, for that at the top of Google. Just realize that with Google and with Facebook, they are constantly making innovations. And on the Google side, I suspect one of the realizations they made is that through the popularity of LSA is that images build trust with consumers, right? And so we are now interjecting your photo, which is the photo that you would use for LSA, to the top of your search results for anyone who is looking for homes for sale related keywords in your area. Extremely powerful because it's essentially free branding. We're doing a lot of things around lead, creative type. There's now Google lead ads, which is extremely powerful. We're testing out for a number of clients, all these different ways that we're improving things. On the Facebook side, same thing. We are going outside of just listing-based marketing, and we're looking at ways to build trust in other ways. We're looking at branding ads. We're looking at overlaying on top of photos, your brand. So, I think that the difference between Facebook marketing we're doing, in the past with Facebook marketing today is not only are we interested in generating leads for you, we're interested in generating leads that have some impression of your brand, right? So that way they're higher quality since they're coming in with a level of trust, right? So there's a ton of innovation going on the Facebook side as well. In terms of the user experience, just know that we are driving the majority of our traffic now to our V2 homepage, home search website. I just got word from our product manager in charge of home search that 83% of all clients are now on V2, and that number is just going to creep up and up until we get to 100%. Only people who haven't gotten it, essentially people who have really finicky boards and they have requirements that we need to build in. But the reason that we have emphasized V2 from a home search perspective is it improves conversion rate by 10%. It's a huge deal, right? The site speed is faster, the load time is faster, which we all know is critical. It has a really clean mobile experience that generates leads. 90% of your leads are generated on mobile, right? So that's pretty important. And we're seeing more people actually engage with listings because we built the listing experience into the actual carousel on your search results page, right? So people are previewing listing photos before they even jump into the listing details page. And we're going to track all of that data and send that into your CRM at a certain point. There's a lot of home search stuff that's being improved on. We have a whole engineering team just devoted to home search. So you can expect a lot more things coming, right? The last thing I want to talk about conversion is conversion funnel. So this is the area that we talked about, Coffee of the Co-Founders. I'm going to blow through this really quickly, but it is the thing that Barry, Gabe, and I are probably most excited about from a release perspective. We are already in active beta on this platform. There's been, I think, 250 or so clients who saw Coffee of the Co-Founders that have already signed up for this. If you haven't, I highly recommend you do, and I'll walk you guys through how to do that in a second. With the conversion funnel, the idea is, here's what our conversion funnel looks like today, right? Consumer comes in, they see an ad from you, they click on that ad, they come to your home search website, and when they look at a listing, registration form comes up, right? And on the registration form, they provide us phone number, email address, and name, and they answer 2 qualifying questions: where they are in your home search and what is their ideal time frame for moving. These are optional questions in our existing lead flow form, so only about 50% of clients actually fill that out, right? That's all you know about the consumer, and that data is obviously sent into your CRM and along with all their search history, right? And this is by and large how every one of our competitors are capturing contact information. Everyone's doing the same thing, right? We like to think we do it slightly better, but it's essentially the same formula. We have now developed what we call dynamic registration. The way it works is that when a consumer actually comes to our website and views a listing, instead of asking them one question, we dynamically ask them up to 15 questions. 15, right? We're capturing data like what's the bedroom bath you want? What's the square footage you want? What's your maximum home price? Features you're interested in? Have you gotten a loan? Do you need to sell before you buy? Like, we're asking so many different questions, right? And the reason we're asking all these, and by the way, these are branching questionnaires. You answer one question one way, we're going to send you down one path. You answer that differently, we send you down another path, right? The reason we are doing that is because we are trying to hyper qualify the lead on your behalf once they hit your home search website, right? So a person that's willing to answer 15 questions and give you their contact information, pretty high quality, right? I'm gonna show you the data on that in a second. In addition to that, we're narrowing down their search criteria so that when we do send them alerts in the future, it's not a feature right now for the beta, but in the future, we are arming you with very specific details of how you should talk to the consumer, right? If they're not pre-approved, they're looking for a 1-story home in a particular location, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that's a real estate conversation that I think most of our clients can have. It's similar to a Zillow or a realtor lead in that, you have a ton of workable data around what this consumer is looking for, right? So that's what dynamic registration is. And you can see here inside the CRM, all of the questions, the types of questions we're asking, right? Purchase time frame, working with an agent, minimum price, maximum price, bedroom, bath, pre-approval status, on and on and on and on, right? So just so many details about the particular lead. And on the quality side, this is obviously just Barry's dashboard as an example, but we're seeing this across almost all of the clients we've run this for, and we spent $25,000 in media just in the last 30 days on this test. So it's pretty tried and true. bottom line is, with standard registration in the last 30 days, our original registration, we had 2.2% active shoppers for Barry. For dynamic registration for the same number of leads, we're at 7%, and Barry already has one pending, right? So talk about immediacy of leads. That's kind of the crazy numbers. And I think, Gabe, you were looking at around 10%, right? 10% active qualified leads. I mean,
Yeah, I was just looking again, actually, at updated numbers. So we're right about 106. We're actually a bit higher than that. We don't have a pending yet, but out of about 160, we have 11 A's that we have confirmed we're talking to, looking to buy or sell within 30 days. About 13 B's and a handful of C's, which is 6. So really, if we're looking at our A, B's, and C's, well over 20% talking to us in our agent's pipeline, claimed and not in our pond.
Well, and I have to sell 4 to make up for your 1, Gabe, just because of the price differences. But, you know, we talk a lot about this, and G is going over digital marketing, right? And so you guys are listening to us talk about getting a return on investment with these products. And one of the things that I'm finding in my business, and I didn't realize it until now, but by persistently being on the cusp of change, like literally innovating and being a part of this community, we are always doing things that nobody else is doing. And, you know, we've been doing dynamic ads since what, 2016 now? But dynamic conversion flows, this is an entirely new concept. And so, you know, the thing that I would say, there's a lot of people saying, hey, I want to sign up. I thought I signed up. What I do every quarter is I email my account manager and marketing at Ylopo. That's one of the ways that I get ROI out of this, because I'm watching stuff or looking at it, and I want to make sure it's working the way that we're supposed to. And Ylopo is the marketing expert, but I'm my local market expert. And so I'm going to, just like you get more out of your CPA by sharing details about your circumstances and your desire, you're going to get more out of Ylopo by connecting with your account manager in the marketing department. So I'm basically batching all of the questions about, like, hey, I thought I signed up for this. When do I get this? I think all roads lead there. Would you agree, G?
Yeah, so we have about 250 people signed up. I expect that number to grow to 300 to 400 people in the next month or so. We are releasing this in waves of 50 to 100. So we've got our first wave coming up literally, I think, tomorrow. We will send you an email. Anyone who has signed up, we will be sending you an email to let you know which wave you are in. And we're hoping these waves start up very quickly, right? Like, you know, if it works for the first 50, everything looks good, we're going to get the next 50 or 100 and so on and so forth. So it might be that if you're in wave 3 or 4, that you're live on this by like December, right? So I don't want to kind of, you know, you to worry what wave you are in, but based on when you signed up, we are basically putting you into a wave. So expect an email from us in the very near future. If you don't get an email, just contact support at Ylopo. They have a Google sheet. They know exactly where you stand. And so you will be all signed up. You know, I know some of you guys double registered. That's apologies. That's just our, you know, anytime we do a beta, it kind of goes a little bit haywire. But you know, if you sign up once, you're in our database, you're good to go, right? So I'll get to how you sign up again in a second. But what I wanted to call out from before, when I say layer on Facebook with Google, right, is with this test process, what we are seeing is that Facebook actually has a better cost per active shopper, not even lead, right? But someone actively shopping, a lead for Barry, essentially. The cost per active shopper was $90 versus Google was $120, right? I won't go into the detailed math, but what I'm saying for you and what we set up the beta as is that you should run both Google and Facebook. We're going to run $600 Google for you, $300 on Facebook, so that way you can see the difference in lead quality. And what's really interesting about this new process of seller mode is that we've actually seen either a flat or an improving CPL with our lead conversion process, right? Usually you ask more questions, you get higher costs, right? But due to our optimization, how we're doing dynamic registration, that actually hasn't been true. About 10% of our clients have seen basically even performance with what they had before, which is awesome because you get higher quality leads, right? and you know, an additional, or sorry, 35% rather, an additional 65% of our clients have seen either marginal improvement in our cost per lead or a dramatic improvement, right? So this is something that we think is going to be a total game changer. And the way that you register is to go to ylopo.com/seller mode, right? You're going to register for that, and just know that we are going to do this additively out of the gate. So you're going to spend an additional $600 on PPC, $300 on social. That way you get a pure A/B test, and we get a pure A/B test of what your standard registration and your dynamic registration looks like, right? So if you have already filled this out, you do not need to fill this out again, right? You are already on our list. You're in a wave. We'll be contacting you. If you haven't, go here, register. And at this point, you're probably in wave 4 or 5, but like I said, hopefully we can get all of you guys in sooner than later within the next month and a half or two. So last thing, I just want to kind of call out again what Howard already did, which is this is kind of the tip of the iceberg of what we'll be showing you at the summit, right? What's nice is the summit is in like 6 months, which means my team has 6 more months to develop cool stuff for you guys. So you're going to be really blown away. And I'm going to share some of the vision of what we're doing on the product side tomorrow in our first session. So you get a taste, but please come to the summit. You're going to learn a ton, and then you're going to see the latest, greatest from our side. And guess what? Because you're the first one that hears about it, you're the first ones on the beta, right? So you want early access to our best tools, what's working, what we're trying to release out, like click to call as an example. Come to the summit. Here is the day 1 registration coupon code.
Hey, Jude, I heard many minutes ago you wanted to see the money shot slide. Do you still want to see it, or save it for another time?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Always time for the money shot.
Okay, so we do have to say that the money shot slide does assume pristine lead follow-up. Okay, so it's a little bit sort of, can you guys see it? Can they see it okay?
Kind of small.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, I'm sorry. Just answering, I'm looking at the questions now for the first time. Seller mode, dynamic registration, 100% works in Canada. And we have done a ton of work for Canadian clients. And so if you want to know what we've done for Canadian clients, watch my Coffee of the Co-Founders.
There you go.
You guys see this? Yep.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so what G was trying to say before is you really want to balance your Google leads with your Facebook leads. Facebook leads over the long haul, a lot less expensive, because you guys need to build, I'm going to say this like literally, I think every single time we ever meet, online or virtually, I mean, in person or virtually. The asset, we were talking to Scott Tremblay, he was talking about building a brand, not just Scott Tremblay, but he's building a brand, right? Oak and Ocean is a brand that will live beyond him. But he also needs to build a massive database of leads, what we call relationships, right? And the larger your database, okay, the more regular income it can just produce, as long as you've built up that right machine, right? Measurement, accountability, visibility, proper lead follow-up, all of that. And this is basically the math, right? And you could say, okay, you build up your database to 100,000 leads, right? That should yield $2.3 million in GCI every year. Now you might just call me out and say that's bullshit, right? But to bullshit test that, go back up here to the percent of the database closed per year. It's basically 1/3 of 1%. Can you close 1/3 of 1%? It's not 3%, it's not 2%, it's not 1%. It's basically saying you need to close 1/3 of 1% of your database. And if you close 1/3 of 1% of your database of 25,000 leads, your annual GCI is like 573. But you close 1/3 of 1% of 100,000, because we know we're going to get 20% of these people back through dynamic remarketing and listing alerts and all the other stuff that just works. It just keeps bringing them back. And from that 20,000 subset, you're going to get 3,600 priority alerts. And if you get 3,600 priority alerts a month, that means that you've eventually got 180 buyers and sellers that you should close within that year. That's just it, right? And now there's a lot of things that can fall down. That's all the stuff that's mostly in your court, right? Proper team structure. Like all the stuff, if you're doing everything that Scott Tremblay's doing, you're going to hit this number, right? If you're not, we need to learn from him, right? All the measurement, accountability, visibility, the proper team management, team motivation, team structure, a lot of devil in details. That stuff's hard. But if you had all those systems in place, the Scott Tremblay systems in place, can you close 1/3 of 1% of your database? Absolutely. Absolutely. So why do we call this the money shot? Because it just gets easier and easier and easier, but this is a long-term investment, right? This is a 5-year play. This is a 7-year play, right? This is a long-term investment, adding new leads every single year, because now we have the technology where those people, those relationships, they don't go anywhere. We always stay in front of them. And guess what? People are ready to move, buy and sell every 4, 5, 6 years, right? So there's no such thing as like old leads or bad leads. Like old leads are the best leads, right? So yeah.
Well, and I bought. Go ahead, Gabe.
No, I love that we kind of transition to this because again, the session's talking about increasing ROI. That doesn't, and as much as I'm excited about all the new lead gen opportunities we have, and it's evolving and it's crazy. What Howard just said is 100%, right? Is it doesn't have to just be the new leads. And one of the things I think not everybody, a lot are missing is the power of the remarketing, retargeting that Ylopo does, and getting their databases into the system and getting them, rejuvenated on the site and everything. And I was just looking, Howard, as you were talking, because that was a big focus of ours this year in Boise. We have plenty of opportunities in there. Is focus on building Denver, but how do we get more out of the database that we currently have? And I was just kind of looking at this. Can you give me a sharing? For some reason, it's not letting me share.
And by the way, I didn't use like big numbers. I used 250,000 as the average home price, which is less. Like this is an old slide, right? So that's a lot less than the median home price. And I used 2.5%. I didn't use 3%. I'm not trying to juice these numbers. Like this is just the reality. If you can ever get to 100,000 people in your database. So let me hit stop share.
It took me about 4 years to get above 100,000.
Now you're just flying around in private jets. Right?
Yeah. So one thing I was just looking at is really kind of jumping into the database really quick and looking at everybody who's been in my database over a year, but we've brought back in this last year. And then I added in, now we've added to our pipeline, meaning A, B, or C, active listing appointments, pendings, and just what we'd call old leads, 131 that we literally spent probably a few dollars on to reactivate onto the, get active on the website. And if we even just get out of the ones we haven't converted yet, I mean, we got 4,000 people, over 4,000 people that by just remarketing, getting that mass lead import done, throwing on those remarketing ads, over 4,000 people that are over a year old in our database that we hadn't talked to back on our website. And then 131, those literally claimed and in our pipeline that cost us dollars to get back in there versus focusing on that. So I think that's a huge part of going into 22 for a lot of teams is making sure, am I utilizing all the tools that are available to get that highest ROI? Don't always focus on the new. I love that for building that pipeline, especially what G was just showing on what Ylopo's been able to do on Facebook to get that cost down and fill the funnel. But let's not forget all the ones that we've been building over the years and years. And this is all automated. It's literally sitting back now. Once we uploaded and turned it on, it's remarketing, it's Raya, triggering priority alerts, popping into our list. And a majority of those, then the ISAs are picking up or the agents, it's all inbound. So it's really getting every bit of juice out of that fruit.
Well, and those are all great points, Gabe. And I think that, a lot of people come to Ylopo, they're excited about the digital marketing prowess of the company. They're excited that remarketing works, but they're also not necessarily capitalizing on it. And so, one of the things that the money slide really represents is that this can become an ecosystem, a fishbowl of humans that have decided to use your website to search for a home. And what the big companies, the big lead providers in America, the ones that everybody knows, they know this, that if they can keep the consumer on their website, they're going to figure out how to monetize that. And we're going to be going over scripts and lead conversion. We have several sessions devoted to it tomorrow. But while we're here, for me, in 2016, I had 6,000 contacts. Now we have about 130,000. And I've built an entire business model around priority alerts. And so the digital marketing is working, and we do a lot of property ads, which is dynamic remarketing, right? So putting houses in front of people, but then I'm also using the dynamic video product so that I'm omnipresent. I'm always in front of them. And so then the consumers are using our website. They trigger an alert and they go into, for us, they go into a priority pond.
Yes.
And so then we've got about 11,000 leads that have triggered priority alerts that we haven't converted yet. And so we focus on those every day. And all we do, write this down because this works 33% of the time. All we do is we call and we say, I was cleaning up my database. I got to your name and I was actually going to remove you because you've been in it a little while. But I just realized in looking at the notes that we don't know if you ever bought a home or if it's a seller lead. We don't know if you ever sold a home. And so before I remove you, I thought I'd just ask one more time. If the person answers the phone, 33% of the time, that turns into an appointment for us. Those numbers are insane, especially because when you take the number of priority alerts that I'm receiving and you multiply it or divide it rather by the amount of money I'm spending on remarketing, those priority alerts are costing me like $1 or $2 an event. And so instead of, as good as $5 RG, as good as $10 or $20 phone calls, I think we both would agree that $1 to $2, that's pretty incredible. But you got to have your systems dialed in. You've got to have, say it again. $5 is worse than $2. I don't think that's what you're asking me though. The script. You're removing people. I got to your name. I don't see if you ever bought a home. And so I thought I'd call you before I remove you. And this works in the magic. The reason why this works so well is you are calling someone that is actively looking on your site. You know this because of the behavior. So you're calling someone that's actively looking and asking them, are you actively looking? That's why it works so well. It's not the script. It's the behavioral notification that, they're calling. And, I hardwired Callingly to this to where the alerts go to my agents.
Sorry, Barry. Thought you were pausing. Yeah, the whole mindset of meeting them where they're at, right? You're not even just in there cold calling. Again, we talk about boiling the ocean, is you're utilizing the tools to come in and meet them where they're at. And then it basically triggers that conversation or some sort of reaction that keeps it going. So Terry Bias asked a question. I want to get back to it. She said she's up to a certain number of leads in her database. So should she be at a different level? I'll let her account manager work on that. But one thing I want everybody listening to really look at, I'm going to share my screen again real quick, is a quick little test. All right, jump into your CRM. I don't care which one you use, it doesn't matter. But I want you to look, and I got to split out Boise and Denver a little bit, but I want you to find out how many total people that you have in your CRM. Then I want you to jump over into mission control. I want to make sure that this number is very similar. Mine's a little off because I've got the two databases, but this number should not be too far off of how many people in your database, and it definitely should not be less. All right. So we want to make sure that everybody's in there, because if you're not seeing it here, you may have leads coming in, or you imported or brought some agents, did their sphere, whatever it is. Everybody in here needs to be in your total leads so that they're getting this remarketing. All right. That's a great action item that you can take with you today. Look at that tonight. And if you do see a discrepancy, reach out to that account manager, because you want to get that teed up and going. That can change a lot of numbers for you going into 22.
And maybe G, you can comment on this, but the critical piece of the money shot slide was a very healthy remarketing budget. So you can have the database, but what we're seeing sometimes is you have this database and there's not enough money being spent on remarketing, which is the most cost-effective marketing dollar that you can spend. So you have to have the remarketing budget. You have to have the proper RIA budget to produce those returns.
Yeah. Rule of thumb is $100 for 1,000 leads in your database for remarketing, right? And that is going to basically get a re-registration on your home search website for about $1, 75 cents to $1, right? So that's the recommended budget. Now, if you have a huge database, you could probably spend less and still reach the same people just because you have so many people in your database for Facebook to target. But generally speaking, let's say you have under 10 to 20,000 leads a month, you're going to want to spend $100 per 1,000 leads in your database.
And, with this, we're wrapping this up to talk about ROI, right? And so that money shot gives you guys a 5-year plan or 3-year plan of how to accomplish this. And I think for us, having a healthy balance of PPC, of Facebook remarketing and Facebook leads, Google LSA, is allowing us to buy like now business. PPC is not necessarily now, but it's very close to it. But then you're also thinking long term, because we all love to talk about branding, but nobody spends money on branding because not many times do people see a branding ad and say, "Hey, I saw your face on a billboard. Will you sell my house?" But it's important. And so you got to play the long game here while still meeting your immediate needs. And that's one of the cool things about Ylopo is it's empowering the small business owner to compete with these national lead providers. And it really does work. You just have to implement, execute.
Yeah. A couple other questions in there that have come up. Albert has one. I'd love to hear yours, Barry. I'll give him one. And we're going to go deeper into scripting tomorrow, but you brought it up, Albert, so we'll give a quick one. ISA is asking, what should they do when a lead, warm, cold, or nurture continues to trigger priority alerts and they realize they've recently connected and they're just looking?
Yeah. Whatever the objection is, make them feel amazing about it. It's not bad news and you're being polite. That's okay that you're not looking. I'll still help you. No. I love looking too. I just bought a house and I'm still looking. Let me ask you, whenever you decide to move, what are you hoping to change about where you're going to live or where you live? They complain about where they live and you move right along your merry way. Not complicated. And for those asking about Callingly, it's just connected to the CRM and it's just a lead routing service. And we didn't talk about lead routing, but lead routing is the important thing about lead routing is getting the lead and the notification to the right people. And it deserves careful consideration.
Yep. Yeah. And Albert, on that scripting too, we're going to go much deeper into this tomorrow because we want to do it with your team members, everybody on there. We'll go deeper into that. And then actually how to adjust your smart filters or smart lists or whatever it is, so that when they're triggering those, they're only showing when it's probably something that needs to come to your attention. So we'll go much deeper into that tomorrow, but we want to do that when we have the entire team. So everybody's benefiting from that as well. Hey, G, we had a few more minutes before we go to break, or we're right at time with Q&A. Somebody was asking if you could show the image of the click to call ad again.
Sure. You want to stop sharing?
Let's see. I think that's Howard. There you go. And again, this is being tested still. It has not been released out to everybody. Or have other people started on this yet?
Yeah, we have less than 10 clients on this right now, and we will expand it once we have call center capacity and once we have perfected the ads.
Perfect. And then somebody's asking tomorrow. Tomorrow's an all day. We're definitely going much deeper tomorrow into areas. So I believe the schedule tomorrow, let me just look to verify, is 9 a.m. start time Pacific. And that's going to go through 5 p.m. And guys, tomorrow is designed for your entire team. This is team lead, admin, your buyer's agents, your listing partners, everybody who you want to get deeper, not just into Ylopo, but just into process, scripting, follow-up, anything and everything on their day-to-day. So we got a lot of great guests this afternoon and tomorrow. So definitely chime in so you can get those questions answered live.
And 2 that I know of features are being announced that nobody knows about tomorrow. Is that right, G, or is it 1 or 2 or 7?
Two features, yeah.
2. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. We're going to be releasing some new stuff.
That's right.
That'll be ready right away, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So everyone gets it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll tell them
Hey,
right
Michelle,
now.
Michelle, would you post that link for tomorrow? If team leads on right now and they want that link to send out to their team members, so they can go ahead and get registered for tomorrow. If we could post that in the chat, that'd be fantastic.
Will do.
Thank you. All right, just trying to scroll through looking for questions, see if I missed anything here. So we are kind of on a short break at this point. If you need to step away, grab a quick bite, bio breaks, whatever it is. Q&As, we'll stick around and kind of keep answering some questions and everything. And then we're going to be coming back for our third session, which is going to be really kind of the optimal team structure, team management. And I think we've got a handful. We got some great guests this afternoon. I'm super excited. So
Me
Don
too.
Carter, Dave Carolese, Sanit, Laura Combrink. Holy crap! That's just in the next session. So lots of nuggets coming this afternoon. So
Yeah.
Am I missing any questions there?
I don't see anything.
All right.
So we'll see you guys, what, in 30 minutes?
Yeah, here in about 25 minutes, actually.
All right. So 25 minutes, do what you got to do. Come back because we got another set of really interesting people that we'll be asking some really interesting questions. What's the next session on? Gabe, say it one more time.
It's the optimal team structure, team management, I believe.
Yes. And I'm going to share along with some others, but I'm going to share how I'm automatically managing the KPIs of the agents and a fascinating number of people on my team that are selling at least 2 Ylopo deals a month. You will be very surprised at what they do every day. So make sure you guys come in about 25 minutes.
Yeah, I love that. And Kelly chatted in, and I can grab some of these questions too. So if you need to jump for a minute, Barry. So Kelly or anybody else, if you're doing that reference check that I was just into your CRM on your total leads, and you're going into mission control and you're seeing a discrepancy, Kelly has like 7,000. Reach out to your account manager. All right, let them know. You guys can jump on a call. They can do an export from your CRM, and we can get all of those uploaded into Ylopo to make sure all of those are getting remarketed. Because yeah, if you've got more people in your CRM than you do in Ylopo, those people are not seeing those remarketing, those branding ads, all the great stuff that that Ylopo is offering for you guys. So make sure and just reach out to your account manager on that. All right, let's see, scrolling through there. Were there any updates on Raya recently? I saw that posted a couple times. I know that there's
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Woo. There you go.
I guess it's not being released. It's being announced tomorrow. So 2 releases tomorrow, hopefully, and a Raya announcement.
Love that. Love that.
Gabe, I'm thinking for the 25 minutes, do you just want to like serenade everybody while we eat?
I'm the last person you want serenading. No. Oh my gosh. I am going to put up somebody else just messaged. So again, just if you guys are wanting, really today and tomorrow is just going to be this, we're scratching the surface of really where we're wanting to go and how deep we're wanting to go for the Success Summit in April. Because we were originally supposed to be getting all together this week. We still wanted to put something out for everybody, especially when it comes to business planning for 22, to have some information to go on. So day one, there is a promo code. I just put it up on the screen. Hopefully you guys can see that, where you can go in, and I believe that you'll get the discount at the very final screen. So I believe you do have to go all the way through, and it'll ask at that point to get that promo code in prior to checkout. Let's see, got that one answered. Today, we are ending. Today's really kind of just a half day. So today, everything will be ending at 2 p.m. Pacific. And then we'll be starting up again tomorrow at 9, going through 5 p.m. So again, tomorrow, everything is all team, going deep in several areas. We're going to be covering things like best practices when it comes to video, scripting, literally getting in role playing. We got some great role playing guests tomorrow that we're going to get in and talk about scripting, mindset, cashing in the gold, how to use your CRM. All of it is going to go super deep tomorrow. So make sure everybody is in for that. Again, if you've already signed up for Summit, everything should have transferred over. Any of these codes for attending, just reach out to support@ylopo.com and they can take care of that for you. Yeah, so Mike, that's a great question. So Mike asked, is Google, can you do remarketing, that retargeting on anybody, or is it really just a Facebook lead? So no, anybody in your database, guys. So that's why it's really important to check in your CRM. Make sure that everybody, it doesn't matter if you've met them at open house, if it's your sphere, if it's an agent joining your team, bringing in their sphere, any person that you have in your database, you really want to get that uploaded into Ylopo. This is the least expensive way for you to stay in front of them. It's 100% automated. The remarketing, the video ads, the carousel, any and all of that. This is that constant presence that you're going to have on them, social media, that's going to keep you top of mind. So yeah, it does not matter what lead source it is. If it's a person and you have an email address for them, get that over to your account managers, then get that uploaded into Ylopo for you.
Michelle, I'm wondering if, I don't know why I just thought of this idea, but if we can just put on the screen, like when the next session starts, maybe on just a Google Doc or something.
Okay, yeah, one sec.
Because I know if I walked away and then I came back, I'd be like, what happened? Why is everybody, what's Gabe doing? Does he know his camera's on?
What is in there? Yeah, I'm just sitting here just trying to just do a little song and dance without doing the song and answer questions. Somebody also asked automated way of getting everybody to remarketing. So yeah, again, talk to your account manager. If you've not had a one-on-one recently with your account manager, especially going into 22, a quarterly review, any of that, have a conversation with them, because at this point, anybody that you have coming into your CRM, you can have that lead, you can do it by lead source, and that's automatically brought into Ylopo, given a stars link, and added to your remarketing campaign. So really make sure you're utilizing your account manager on any of these topics so that you can automate as much of this as possible, so you're not having to manually do exports or anything like that. They're asking about preventing people from triggering priority alerts. So, and I believe there's a setting in there. Once they trigger one, it's not going to send you a priority alert notification. I believe it's for 24 hours. It might be a little bit longer if there's an account manager that can correct me if I misspoke on that. But I don't know that I would necessarily want it to prevent after a certain amount of time. What we're finding, and we're definitely focusing more on priority alerts than just about anything. And really, a priority alert is a hand raiser, is new, and all of that, and how they're coming into the list. But start managing your lists based on stages and then the last time you've reached out. So if you're finding people who are truly a looky-loo and you don't want them to see in your list every day when they're in there, you probably should have a stage for that, right? So our stage where we're confirming that they're out more than 6 months is C. Right. So if I have somebody as a C, I can now create a list that if they triggered a priority alert, I only want to see that if it's been X time since I've spoke to them. Right now, they're not in there. And we're going to go really deep into this tomorrow, but you start customizing and creating these dynamic smart lists within your CRM to start telling you who's worth your time. We've really gone away from having to search for priority notifications or alerts or emails and start working the list. So again, we'll do that tomorrow. So versus trying to stop somebody from triggering a priority alert or stop from allowing them to ask a question, it's customize your CRM to show you who's important based on their activity, the last time you communicated with them, and their stage. You can start layering these, and if you haven't watched Barry's masterclass, He goes into this in depth as well, but you start layering the stage, your last communication and their last activity to create these perfect lists of who you should be reaching out to. The list will also start helping you identify those people who told you they're a year out, year and a half out, to start triggering priority alerts that really are probably 6 months out. Something changed in their plan, something changed on their journey, and they're now ready to start looking. So that's what you really don't want to keep them from triggering. You just want to customize how those are displayed within your CRM. Yeah, and same question again, any lead source, any lead coming into your CRM, if you want every lead from Craigslist or every lead from HomeSnap or whatever it is that's going into your Follow Up Boss or whatever CRM you're using, you want that lead source to automatically get a stars link, get added to remarketing and all of that. Just reach out to your account manager. They will set that up so it's happening automatically. And then I think, Michelle, I'm not sure in case you're still there, somebody mentioned they're having an issue with the link for tomorrow. So I'm not sure if that's an isolated or not. So if we can just go ahead and make sure we got the link in there. And did you post that into chat? Because I was rude to just tag her in like
Sorry,
that.
I was muted.
You're good. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I did post it in the chat. I will go ahead and do that again. 1 second.
And I might, if you keep that handy, we might throw it in there just kind of throughout. That way, if somebody pops in and out, I'm not sure if it's going to load chat for them and the previous. That way, they can make it easy for them to find. So again, again, everybody on here for the most part today are team leads and admin. Make sure you're sharing the link that Michelle just posted out. Or just post in the chat, share that out to everybody on your team. Because again, tomorrow we are speaking to everyone. All right. I just tested it. It looks like it's working great on my side. So, all right. All right. We should be back here in about 15, 16 minutes, guys. I'm going to take a quick break myself, and we are going to be coming back with some great guests, again, talking about the optimal team structure, team management, and different ways that you can look at that. So we'll be back in just about 15 minutes. Thanks, guys.